Ever wonder how Section 8 investors are getting rich? Well, in today's video, I'm going to separate the fact from the fiction. And why is this important? Because when I did my first Section 8 rental, I made a ton of mistakes, I took a ton of losses, and I'm going to share what I learned so that you don't have to. I'm Robert Nichols, and I flipped over $50 million worth of real estate. And I'm going to share in this video the number one mistake most Section 8 investors make. I'm going to give you a framework that will allow you to be profitable in Section 8 in any market. And at the very end of the video, I'm going to share a strategy that's like Section 8 on steroids, where you can literally double your money, and it's all backed by the state and federal government. Now let's get into it. Is Section 8 really that great? Today, I'm going to answer the question that's on a lot of you guys' minds about the Section 8 model of real estate investing and whether or not it can create wealth and also create a luxury lifestyle that is portrayed on Instagram and IG with $20 million mansions, $5 million yachts, Rolls-Royce cars, Lamborghini cars, and really this luxury Playboy lifestyle that I just haven't seen for all of the Section 8 landlords that I know and that I work with firsthand, including myself. And so with that said, let's separate the fact from the fiction. So question number one, can Section 8 empower you to build wealth as a real estate investor? Absolutely, yes, it can. It's empowered me and others around the country to do it. Can it propel you to living like Hugh Hefner? I don't think so. I think that's fiction. I think a lot of that, when you see guys kind of flossing and flexing in front of you, all of that, lights, camera, action type of stuff, it is because they're selling their courses, which is making them the millions. And then they're also Section 8 investors. Don't get me wrong, but fundamentally, Section 8 is a strategy that is designed to allow landlords to buy properties. It creates housing for the needy, for those in need. And you can definitely build a very strong portfolio with this strategy, but you got to be very careful. Which brings me to my second point, number two. When I watch these gurus talk about Section 8, they just glaze over the management side of this. And I'm telling you this firsthand, finding the right property manager is everything. If you find a great manager, it can definitely increase your profitability and ensure you will have a stable real estate portfolio. If you find managers that are mediocre or not great, they're subpar, it will destroy your Section 8 model. And I've seen this firsthand. I'll tell you a story quickly. On my very first Section 8 rental I purchased when I was 23 years old, I had a tenant who lived in there. Let's say her name was Kathy. Kathy had a bunch of kids. It was a 4-bedroom unit on a townhouse style unit on a 2-family. And one month I got a water bill for over $3,000. And so when I went to the house, I said, Kathy, what is going on here? And I looked at the kitchen sink, and the kitchen sink was actually broken off and the water was just running 24/7. I said, hey, Kathy, you didn't think to mention to me that the kitchen sink was broken? She's like, oh, I didn't want to bother you. So now I was making $400 a month. Now I had to deal with a $3,000 water bill, which I had to settle with the water company and let them know the situation, what it was. But this is just one example of what I've encountered owning Section 8 rentals. I had another unit where the furnace exploded. It was a $5,000 bill I didn't have. I had to get a $5,000 loan, and it really just took me out of the money on that property altogether for many years. And so I share these stories as the reality of what it is like to be a landlord in general. Sometimes you obviously are going to buy something that's new and doesn't need much. And even despite your best efforts, if you're buying a used property, a property that's been lived in and has older systems, these are inevitably things that are going to happen and rob you of your cash flow in the short run. So I really want you to understand that the management is the key to your success as a Section 8 landlord, but there are things that are going to come up that will definitely take away from that monthly cash flow. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Another question I want to answer today is, are there better options than Section 8? And so I will quickly say, yes, there are. The scattered site shelter housing model, if you haven't heard of it, is a model where you can essentially rent to people in shelters. It's paid for by the state, and it's another government program that you can leverage to build wealth in real estate. But the best part is, typically they pay double what Section 8 pays. I have another video that explains what this model is, but I definitely encourage you to explore it if you're looking to exponentially increase your cash flow and increase your wealth as a real estate investor. And then lastly, I want to talk about how much money you should expect to make with Section 8 rentals on a monthly basis. And so what I would say is, you typically are going to see Section 8 rentals in areas that you have higher cap rates. The way the real estate market works is, if you buy a property in an area that is, let's say, has a higher crime rate, school system may not be as good. In order for investors to buy there, it comes with added risk because some of the housing stock is older as well. You are now going to get at least a 10 cap or 11 cap or even a 12 cap. CAP stands for capitalization rate, which is the amount of money you're going to make per year based on what you paid for that property. So let's just say if you paid $100,000 for a property and you're making back $10,000 a month for that property, or $10,000 a year for that property, you're basically getting 10% of your money back in the form of cash flow from the property before you pay your mortgage. And so that's how a lot of investors make their decisions. And so yes, areas that do tend to have more Section 8 rentals do have a higher profitability than you would traditional rentals in more stable markets or more affluent markets. So I think that's something to note as well if you're exploring this as an option. But I really want to just demystify the whole luxury lifestyle that is created from Section 8 rentals, because I just haven't seen it. I know guys who own over 700 units and they are not living like that. So I hope this helps you on your real estate journey. If you're looking for more tips and ways for you to engage in real estate and learn the game to increase your wealth, hit me up. I've got links below with free trainings, webinars, and some other stuff that can really help you on your journey. I'm Robert Nichols, and as always, stay tuned for more.